Hey y'all, let's cover lesson 20, adding and subtracting fractions. Up until this point, we have multiplied fractions, we have divided fractions, and now we're going to do the last pieces, which is adding and subtracting the fractions before we go into the applications. So Paul and Tony order a pizza, which has been cut into 8 equal slices. And that's what division does. Usually it divides things into 8 equal slices. Each slice is how much of the whole pizza? Well, if you have 8 total slices, remember the total goes on the bottom and the part goes up top. So 1 out of 8. So each slice is 1/8 of the whole pizza pie. Paul eats 2 slices or 2/8, 2 of the 8 slices of the whole pizza. Tony eats 3 slices or 3 of the 8 of the whole pizza. How much did they eat together? Well, the 2, so here's Paul, and then here's Tony. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 8. The other way to get that without having the drawing is the 2/8 that Paul ate plus the 3/8 that Tony ate. You always add the numerators, the top, and then the denominators just stay as they are. Here's the gig. You cannot add these if they do not have the same denominator. They have to have the same denominator. As long as they do, you can add or subtract them. Okay, adding fractions with common denominators, which is what we're doing. Let A over C and B over C be 2 fractions and they have the same common denominator of C. Their sum is defined as, well, remember sum, add it to your dictionary, is addition. A over C plus B over C is equal to A plus B over C. Okay, an example of that would be 4/7 plus 2/7 is 4 plus 2 over 7, which is 6/7. There's an example. Subtracting fractions with common denominators. Same thing. Let A over C and B over C be 2 fractions with a common denominator. Their difference, and difference is described as subtraction, if you need that in your dictionary. Difference is defined as A over C minus B over C is A minus B over C. An example we could use is 5/9 minus 1/9, and that's equal to 5 minus 1 over 9, which is 4/9. Okay. Find the sum of 4/9 and 3/9. I'm going to do this one, and then actually you should be able to do both of these. I've given you examples. Pause the video, go attempt both of these. There's a trick for this one though. Okay. So think about what they're asking you. All right. Now you're coming back. Find the sum of 4/9. Sum means add. 4/9 plus 3/9 is 4 plus 3 over 9. 4 plus 3 is 7/9. Okay. Subtract 5/16 from 14/16. This is just like the than statement that we've talked about before. If you're subtracting something from something else, that something else has to come first. Like if I'm subtracting 2 from 5, that would be 5 minus 2. But it's fractions, so we're subtracting 5/16 from 13/16. 5/16. So that's 13 minus 5 divided by 16, which is 8 over 16. Okay. 8 over 16 is reducible. They're both divisible by 2. They're both divisible by 4. They're both divisible by 8. So I'm going to divide both of these by 8 to reduce them. If you don't remember how to tell if they're reducible, create your tree. 4 and 2, 2 and 2, 2, 4, 2. That's total of 3 of them. And then 16, you can do the same thing. 8 and 2, 4 and 2, 2 and 2. So they have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in common. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. So they're both divisible by 8, and this becomes 1/2. Always reduce. Okay, the next one is simplify 3 over x minus a negative 7 over x. Well, that's 3 over x. It's the same rules apply for fractions as it does for integers. Negative times a negative is a positive, or if you have 2 negatives, it's a positive. 7 over x. So this makes it 3 plus 7 over x, which is 10 over x. And that's your answer. Pause the video and attempt the next one and then come back. Okay, 5 over y minus 2 over y. They have the same denominator. So 5 minus 2 divided by y is 5 minus 2 is 3 over y. All right. We're going to next consider the sum of 4/9 plus 1/6. How do we do that? First thing we have to do is notice that they don't have the same denominator, so that doesn't work for us. We can't just go with 4 plus 1. So let's see what we can do here. We're going to have to find the least common denominator for a set of fractions. So we have to find what number that these both would go into. Okay, it's going to be the smallest. It's going to be the smallest number divisible by each of the denominators. In the given fractions, in the fractions. All right, the least common denominator, otherwise known as the LCD, is the smallest number divisible by each of the denominators in the given fractions. So to find that, we'll do that here in just a second. Let's get through the rest of this and I'll go back up there and do that one. In order to add, oh, it's right here. In order to add two fractions with different denominators, we need to find a common denominator. For the two fractions, you're going to make the fractions with a common denominator that are equivalent to the original fractions. Okay, so 4/9 plus 1/6. The way I look at this is, what are the factors of 9 and 6? So I'm going to take 6 and I'm going to take 9. Oh, give me just 1 second, please. Sorry about that. Okay, the factors of, I'm sorry, yeah, we're going to take 6 first. 6 is made up of 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. I'm going to stop right there. Just that's enough. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. And looky there, I can stop right there. They both have 18 in common. So that is their common denominator. All right, whatever they have in common first, you stop and you're going to use that. All right, sometimes it's easier to start with the larger one and just do a few of those instead of the smaller one. Just depends on how you feel like doing it. All right, so the way I set this up is I set them stacked on top of each other. And this is how I learned it as a little girl. Plus 1, 6. I was younger. Okay. All right. What did it take for 9 to get to 18? And what did it take for 6 to get to 18? So let's look at the 9 first. 9 times what is 18? Well, 9 times 1 was 9. 9 times 2. This was times 2. So we took 9 times 2 to get 18. What you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. 4 times 2 is 8. All right. What did it take for 6 to get to 18? 1, 2, 6 times 3 was 18. So what you do to the denominator, you do to the numerator. 1 times 3 is 3. 8 plus 3, 8, 9, 10, 11 is 11 divided by 18. And that is our answer. All right. Procedure for adding or subtracting fractions with different denominators. You're going to find the LCD. Oh, bear with me just 1 second, please. Sorry for the disruption. Last night was that big snowstorm we had, so we're trying to find shovels and get dug out. All right, so let's go back to that. So sorry. Find the LCD, the smallest number divisible by all the denominators of the given fractions. Divisible. Okay. Create fractions using the LCD, the lowest common denominator, as the denominators that are equivalent. So 3/8 is equivalent to 1/6. 8/18 is equivalent to 4/9. They're equivalent to the original fractions. Add or subtract the resulting equivalent fractions, and then simplify, including reducing, which is what we did for that one before, reducing. All right, the final answer to the lowest terms. So your final answer should not be able to be reduced any further than it is. All right, 3/5 minus 2/3. I'm going to set them on top of each other. 3/5 minus 2/3. And when I set this up, I'm going to have my equivalent fractions, and this one's going to be a negative. All right. 5 and 3, what do they have in common? Multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15. I'm going to stop there because that's just 5 times 3. Multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So their common denominator is going to be 15. Do not always use the multiple of 5 times 3 as your common denominator. You'll find that it gets to be too big and reducing is not fun. It's better to always set it up this way to find out what's truly the common denominator instead of just multiplying and assuming that that's going to work. It does work, but it just means you have to reduce more later. What does it take from 5 to get to 15? Well, it has to be multiplied by 3. So therefore 3 has to be multiplied by 3, which is 9. What does it take for 3 to get to 15? It has to be multiplied by 5. So therefore negative 2 has to be multiplied by 5, which is negative 10. Okay, so we have 9 minus 10. The signs are different, so we subtract them and take the sign of the larger number. And all of that is over our common denominator. All right, let's simplify. Actually, pause the video and attempt this one yourself. 3/4 plus 7/5. 3/4 plus 7/5. Set them up like this every time. Multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. I'm going to stop there because that's 4 times 5. 5 is 5, 10, 15, and 20. So 20 is their lowest common denominator. So that's going to be 20. Final answer is going to be 20. 4 times what is 20? 4 times 5. So 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 4 is 20. So 7 times 4 is 28. Now we add the numerators, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Carry the 1, 2, 3, 4. 43 over 20. That is your answer. Please let me know what questions you have about this. Oh, we've got plenty of practice going on here. This is exciting. All right, here's what you need to be doing. You need to pause the video and start working through at least these two. Come back and watch them after you've done these two. All right, because I think you can handle those. Negative 1/4 minus 5/6 4, 4, 8, 12, 16. I'm going to stop there. And 6 would be 6, 12. All right, there it is. 12. See, if you would have just multiplied, it would have been 24, and that's not fun. 4 times 3 is 12. This is going to be a negative up here. 1 times 3 is 3, negative 3 up top. And then 6 is going to be negative as well. 6 times 2 is 12. So negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. Negative and a negative, these are adding, so it's going to stay a negative. 3 plus 10, when the signs are the same, you add the numbers. 3 plus 10 is 13. And that is our answer. All right, 3/8 minus 1/12. All right, and it's 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. I'm going to stop there. 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 24 is our lowest common denominator. 3 times 3, I'm sorry, 8 times 3 was 24. So 3 times 3 is 9. 12 times 2 is 24. So negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. 9 minus 2 is 7. And that is my answer. All right, 5 over x. And 3/4. Setting them all the same way. Or we've got x and 4. So the lowest common denominator has to be 4x. Can't be anything else. They have nothing in common. X times what is 4x? X times 4. So 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times what is 4x? 4 times x. So 3 times x is 3x. So this is 20 plus 3x over 4x. 5 over z, pause the video and attempt this one yourself. 5 over z plus 2/3, that up. Common denominator is 3z. All right, z times 3 is 3z, so 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times z is 3z, so 2 times z is 2z. Finally, we add 15 plus 2z over 3z is our answer. All right. Simplify. 2/3 minus x fifth. 2/3 minus x over 5. Attempt this one yourself, just to see what happens. Not going to hurt anything. All right. 3 and 5. Multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. I'm going to stop there because that's 3 times 5. Multiples of 5 are 5, 10, and 15. 15 is our lowest common denominator. 3 times 5 is 15. So 2 times 5 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. So negative x times 3 is negative 3x. Finally, it's 10 minus 3x over 15. Okay. 3/7 minus y over 4. Let's just set these up. If you didn't attempt the last one on your own, please attempt this one just to give yourself a chance to make sure you understand. Lowest common denominator, 4 is made up of 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. All right, let's see what 7 has. 7, 7 times 2 is 14, 7 times 3 is 21, 7 times 4 is 28. I didn't even get there up here, but 7 times 4 is 28, so that's going to have to be their lowest common denominator. 28, 28, and 28. 7 times 4 was 28. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 7 was 28. Negative y times 7 is negative 7y. So this is just 12 minus 7y over 28. All right. 5/28 and 11 over 42. All right, we're gonna have to find what they have in common as far as lowest common denominator. 28 is made up of 28. 28 times 2 is 56. 28 times 3 is 84. 28 times 4 is 112. I'm gonna stop there. 42. 42 times 2 is 84. Oh, there's our LCD. 84 and 84 and 84. Right? 28 times 3 was 84. 5 times 3 is 15. 42 times 2 is 84. 11 times 2 is 22. Finally, we add our numerators, 5, 6, 7. 1 plus 2 is 3. 37 over 84. And we don't have to reduce because we went with the lowest common denominator. I would not want to have to reduce a higher number. All right, please pause and attempt this next one yourself. 5 over 24 and 5 over 36. All right, multiples of 24. 24, 48, 72, and 96. Multiples of 36 are 36, 72. I'm going to stop right there. 72 is my lowest common denominator. 24 times 3 was 72. So 5 times 3 is 15. 36 times 2 is 72. So 5 times 2 is 10. Adding the numerators, we get 25 over 72 as a final answer. Please make sure that when you're doing your homework, you keep requesting similar problems until you can do it without your notes, without your video. You want to be comfortable with doing this because this next exam is strictly on fractions. Okay, and that goes with all your homeworks. 11 over 24 minus 1 over 18. I want you to pause the video and attempt these two on your own and then come back. All right, so for 24 and 18, 18 and 24, the multiples are 18, 36, 54, 72. I'm going to stop there. For 24, it's 24, 48, and 72. 72 is our lowest common denominator. What did it take for 24 to get to 72? 1, 2, 3. Multiplying times 3. 11 times 3 is 33. For 18, it took 1, 2, 3, 4. 18 times 4 is 72. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. All right, 72 is our denominator. 33 minus 4 is 29. Same thing for the next one. Negative 5 over 24 minus 11 over 36. We already did this one. We did 24 and 36 already. So their lowest common denominator is 72. We don't have to revisit that. All right, 24 times, what was that? 24 times 3 and 36 times 2. Times 3 and times 2. 24 times 3 is 72. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. 36 times 2 is 72. Negative 11 times 2 is negative 22. When the signs are the same, you're adding the numbers and keeping the sign. So this is going to be a negative answer. 5 plus 2 is 7. 1 plus 2 is 3. Final answer is negative 37 over 72. Because I went with the lowest common denominator, it's much nicer for reducing. Comparing fractions. All right, this is the last piece of this for this section, for this lesson. The easiest way to compare fractions is to create equivalent fractions with a common denominator. By far the easiest way. So if we have negative 1/2 and we have negative 4/5, and I want them to have a common denominator, we have to find out what that would be. They're both going to be negatives. For 2, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm going to stop there. For 5, it's 5 and 10. Okay. So 1/2 I'm multiplying the 2 by what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So therefore I have to multiply my -1 by 5. And I get, I need these to both be 10. -5 over 10. 5 times 2 is 10. So -4 times 2 is -8. Forgot about this. So I've got -5/10 and -8/10. When you're comparing them, we want to know if it's going to be the greater than symbol or the less than symbol. Okay, so if I wrote it this way, that would say that -5/10 is greater than -8/10. If we wrote it this way. If we wrote it this way, that would say that -5/10 is less than -8/10. So if you think about a number line, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8. -8 is less than -5. So it needs to be like this. -5/10 is greater than -8/10. This is not the form you're going to leave it in because we're comparing these two fractions. What we have to do is put them back to their original form. -1/2 is greater than -4/5, and that is your answer. Okay. Comparing -3/8 and -1/2. Attempt this one yourself. -3/8 and -1/2. Well, we've got 8 and 2. I know 2 goes into 8, so 8 is going to be my lowest common denominator. 2 times what is 8? 2 times 4 is 8. So -1 times 4. This one isn't going to change. This one becomes -4 over 8. Okay, look at my number line. I've got -3/8 and -4/8. Here's 3, here's 4. So 3 is greater than 4. All right, so I'm just going to rewrite it with the original fractions, -3/8 and -1/2. I'm going to leave it in that format. Okay. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, it does. Okay. I had to think through that. Sorry, I just got a little brain fart for a minute. All right, that's it, y'all. If y'all have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to help.